Well, it's kind of late, and I'm a little bit sorry that I did this, but on the other hand, probably tomorrow I'll be happy that I did. Because working with a knife means that when you're laying color on with a fairly heavy application, and you know that the next morning that paint is going to be pretty dry and possibly have a skin on it that's going to make things difficult to work with. Seeing as I've started on the left, I'm kind of committed to this. No, I'm not thrilled with my decision, but sometimes I'll just push it anyway because, well, frankly, it keeps me from being lazy. So I'm playing with some stuff that's in the sky here. Ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, a bit of yellow ochre, and some white. So let's see what we can do with that. Not to mention the fact, I don't have to do this tonight, but not to mention the fact that this is wet and it's greenish. This is purplish. It's much easier, certainly with a knife, to blend the two while the paint is wet. Rather than having to, instead of blend, but rather overlay the paint the next day. That's a bit pinker, it's a bit redder, that's okay because we're falling underneath more intense colors. And it's not the base colors that I'm worried about on the water. It's ultimately, and that's something I'm going to do tomorrow, is laying in the highlights over top. Those highlights hopefully will pick up some of the colors of the sky. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm doing the right thing or not. Now, this is not my first go around. So, you know, odds are kind of in my favor due to my experiences. My lived experience. But I fail a lot. You try and you fail and you try and you fail and, you know, sometimes you win. You always hope for a win. Okay, let's get away from that reddish a little bit as we work our way up, because we're going to need to blend with this green, so we're going to need to add a little more blue and yellow ochre. See that? It's just, it's not quite so purple anymore. We're getting into the blue, and we're just gonna lay that in a few places on the edge of the painting with low values, right? And we're going to add a little more ultramarine blue and a little more yellow ochre. And a little more white. I'm gonna add some red to it. I don't want to bring this down. I don't want to bring these colors down. I want to bring these colors up. That's kind of my game plan. Okay, so far. Alright, a little more ultramarine blue, a little more alizarin crimson, a dollop of yellow ochre, a dollop of titanium white, more yellow ochre. I'm warming it up because we're getting closer to, below these very warm colors. So I'm not afraid of adding a little higher chroma, a little warmer color. Alright, we seem to be, yep, that's too much, too soon, too close to the edge. Okay. I think that we can go all the way over here with this. More yellow ochre, more white. How did I scrape into that and still leave color behind? I don't know. Sorry guys, I know I mumble. I mumble a lot when I'm painting. Let's get this covered. Let's not just mess around here. Let's get some color on there and work with it after that. Worry about the small things. Treat them like small things because that's what they are. Seeing as I've committed to doing the water, at least, for the most part, I've committed to doing this all tonight. I'm just going to keep monkeying around in here and get things covered. Again, I don't mind letting some of these, the warp and weft and the dark stain showing through. That's okay with me. That's not a problem. There's really not that much water in this painting. I'm not going to fret about making a perfect design within the water. I'm not going to go in that direction. yeah, you know, in general, alright. Alright, I can live with that. Make that a little bit lighter because we're directly below this light. I think, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I'm glad we did that. I'm glad we just went ahead and jumped in and didn't get too concerned about anything. Yeah, just a minute. Just a minute before I get ahead of myself. I don't want to. I don't want to fuss around in here until I've decided that my shape, my where the water meets the rock is a good design, and it's not quite there in my opinion. It's close, but not quite. And I think that I don't quite want this rock to be that sharp. I don't know, maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. Well, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 87% sure, and I'll live with that. You know, if it really doesn't work out, I can change it. I'll use a brush to change it if I need to. But for the time being, rather than being hesitant and fearful of every decision, I got some ground covered, and I'm pretty happy with that. Or is it now water covered, I guess. Progress is the main thing. It's so funny, you know. You can revisit the same pattern of thinking while you're painting so many times. And you end up becoming, or you can end up becoming very fearful of making a mistake on your next efforts. Sometimes it's worth just jumping in there and not worrying about making a mistake. Just do it. Because mistakes can be corrected. Now, if it's a horrible mistake, I'll know it before I leave the studio tonight. In which case, I will scrape off the extra paint. I may not have the wherewithal to fix the problem, but at least I'll scrape off enough paint that I can go in tomorrow and revisit it on a flat layer without a lot of texture on it. If, being a knife painting especially, if I leave the paint on there and it looks like it's not going to be so good, then I really need to remove the texture from it. Otherwise it becomes very difficult to fix things. Yeah, I'm probably going to upload this video tonight yet. It's already quite late here. Maybe it'll be one of those ASMR videos. Yeah, and this was very green too. It's just too green. I wanted to stay cooler in this area, but I think I got a little carried away with that. However, what I have done on this area is I've already scraped off the bulk of the paint, and I have laid some toilet paper on there to pluck the excess paint off of there. So I've already kind of taken care of that. Let me stand up and back up and have a look at this. Oh, I'm not even close to happy with that. That is just gross. That is just horrible. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my knife, run across here, pick the extra paint off of that entire area. Well, you know, guys, that's just how it goes sometimes. All right. I'm not going to scrape this part because it's fairly flat already. Sorry, I'm bumping the tripod here. But what I am going to do is take a long sheet of this. Because it'll pick up some pigment and it will pick up a lot of oil, which takes away the slipperiness and will aid in setting the paint for tomorrow. See? So that when I go into it tomorrow, I'll have a stiffer base on which to throw my knife around. I'm kind of disappointed, you know. I was hoping that was going to work out, but it didn't. You know, I was hoping taking this sort of greenish water would pick up the color of the rock, and I think I shouldn't have worried about it. I think I should have just stuck with my, you know, sky adjacent colors and gone right in there and left them through the whole the story pole, the whole what am I talking about? All the water, right up to the rocks. And I could have used some green and highlighted green, just with the highlights, just with the where the rivulets, the wave crests caught some light. That would have worked. However, I'm going to have to revisit this. I'm going to have to redraw these lines, and I'm going to have to go in with fresh paint on there and fix my misjudgment. All right, I'm blithering, and that's because it's late. I think I overextended my ability tonight. That's okay. Doesn't bother me at all. It's fun. Maybe I'll learn from it. Maybe I won't. Good night, guys. See you soon.